Hold on for a second, because what you're about to hear isn't just another sports story. It's something much deeper, something that proves how one moment, one person, can change everything. Under the blazing heat of Miami, inside the massive Hard Rock Stadium, the air felt heavy, the kind of heat that drains even the strongest athletes. Every year, the world's best tennis players step onto those courts, but not all of them leave with their pride intact. Miami doesn't forgive weakness. It exposes it. And right there, in the middle of this brutal battlefield, stood a 20-year-old girl from the Philippines, not just to compete, but to shock the world. Alex Eala didn't walk into Miami Open with the loud expectations that follow global superstars. She walked in carrying something far more powerful, belief, a belief built from years of struggle, discipline, and proving people wrong. Born in a country where tennis isn't exactly a dominant sport, her journey was never meant to be easy. The Philippines doesn't have the same infrastructure, funding, or pathways as the tennis giants of Europe or America. But somehow, she carved her way through it all. Training at the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, she sharpened not just her skills, but her mindset, discipline, composure, mental strength, the kind that separates good players from unforgettable ones. And then came the moment that changed everything. Last year, she stepped onto the court against one of the most dominant players in the world, a match where nobody expected her to win. The odds were stacked. The pressure was overwhelming. But Alex didn't care about expectations. Point by point, she fought. Calm, focused, relentless. And when it ended, she didn't just win a match. She shook the entire tennis world. Social media exploded. Fans couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. A young Filipino player had taken down one of the biggest names in the sport. It wasn't just a victory. It was a message. I belong here. But here's the thing about sports. One big moment can sometimes be just that, a moment, a flash, something that fades as quickly as it appears. Many athletes rise once and then disappear. The real test? Do it again. Coming back stronger when everyone is watching you, when opponents study you, when pressure multiplies. This year, at the Miami Open, Alex faced that exact reality. She wasn't the unknown underdog anymore. She was a target. Every opponent came prepared. Every match was tougher. Every point mattered more. But instead of breaking under pressure, she evolved. She adapted her game. She stayed composed. She fought through difficult moments. And match by match, she proved that last year wasn't luck. It was just the beginning. Reaching the later stages of the tournament again wasn't just an achievement. It was confirmation. She was here to stay. Back in the Philippines, something incredible was happening. Streets, homes, restaurants, everywhere people gathered around screens, watching, hoping, celebrating. It wasn't just about tennis anymore. It was national pride. Millions of people saw themselves in her journey. The struggle, the fight, the refusal to give up despite the odds. But among all those watching, there was one man whose reaction would change everything, not just for Alex, but for people far beyond the tennis court. Tony Caktiong. As Alex continued her incredible run, the energy around her kept building. Every match wasn't just a game anymore. It felt like history unfolding in real time. The pressure, the expectations, the eyes of millions, all focused on one young athlete. And somewhere in a crowd of watchers, Tony Caktiong wasn't just observing. He was feeling something deeper, because what he saw wasn't just talent. He saw struggle. He saw resilience. He saw a reflection of his own journey. Years ago, he stood in a completely different battlefield, not on a tennis court, but in the world of business. Surrounded by global giants, massive corporations, and competitors with far more resources, the odds were never in his favor. Yet he didn't step back. He adapted. He learned. He built something that people connected with, something rooted in identity, something proudly Filipino. And now, watching Alex fight on that court, he saw the same fire, different arena, same spirit. That realization didn't just stay as a passing thought. It turned into action. Soon after Alex's remarkable performance, a press conference was announced. Media outlets gathered. Cameras were ready. Journalists filled the room with anticipation. Everyone knew something important was about to be said, but no one expected what came next. Tony stepped forward, calm but emotional. His voice carried weight, not just as a businessman, but as someone genuinely moved by what he had witnessed. He spoke about Alex's focus, her discipline, her courage. He called her a symbol of hope, not just for Philippines, but for young people everywhere who dare to dream beyond their circumstances. The room fell silent, and then came the announcement. Something so unexpected, it sent shockwaves to the entire sports world. A foundation. Not just any foundation, but one created in Alex's name. And behind it, a staggering $2 million commitment. No delays. No long planning phases. No hesitation. Just a decision made from belief. In that moment, everything changed. This wasn't about sponsorship. It wasn't about marketing. It was about impact. The Alex Eala Foundation wasn't designed as a simple charity. It had a clear, urgent purpose: to help communities affected by conflict, to provide relief where it's needed most, to reach people who are often forgotten in the chaos of the world. Food, shelter, medicine, hope, real, tangible support. And suddenly, Alex's story became something much bigger than tennis. Her name was no longer just tied to rankings, matches, or trophies. It became connected to lives being changed across the globe. What made this even more powerful was the intention behind it. Tony didn't just want to celebrate her success. He wanted to amplify it, to turn her influence into something meaningful. Because Alex isn't just an athlete people watch. She's someone people believe in. Millions follow her matches. Millions hear her voice. Millions feel inspired by her journey. Now, that same attention would shine a light on people who need help the most. And that's where everything becomes truly extraordinary. Because this is what happens when sport goes beyond mission, gains something even more powerful: global visibility. But perhaps the most unforgettable moment was Alex's reaction. On the court, she's known for her composure. Calm, focused, almost emotionless at times. The kind of mental strength built through years of training at one of the toughest academies in the world. Win or lose, she stays steady. But this moment was different, because this wasn't about tennis. This was about something bigger than herself. As the announcement settled in, it became clear. Her journey had taken a turn no one could have predicted. She wasn't just playing matches anymore. She was carrying a purpose. Every serve, every rally, every victory from now on would carry a deeper meaning, not just for her, but for people she may never even meet. And that realization changed everything. From that moment on, everything about Alex's journey felt different. It wasn't just about winning matches anymore. It wasn't just about rankings, trophies, or prize money. Every time she stepped onto court, she carried something far heavier, something far more meaningful, a purpose. As the tennis season moved forward and the clay courts of Europe approached, Alex prepared for a new challenge: different surface, different conditions, slower rallies, longer points, a completely different test of patience and endurance. But this time, she wasn't walking into it the same player. Because now, every serve she hit wasn't just about scoring a point. It was about being seen. Every rally wasn't just about outplaying an opponent. It was about creating awareness. Every victory wasn't just a personal achievement. It became a signal to the world. And that's what made this story so powerful. Because what started as a young girl chasing a dream had now turned into something much bigger, a movement that connected sport, identity, and humanity all in one. Think about it. A player from a country with limited tennis infrastructure rises through the ranks. She shocks the world. She proves she belongs. And then, instead of the story ending there, it evolves. It expands. It begins to impact lives far beyond the court. That's rare. Very rare. And Tony Tan Caktiong understood that perfectly. He could have celebrated her success in a simple way: a congratulatory message, a brand deal, a symbolic gesture. That would have been enough for most people. But he chose something different. He chose legacy. He saw a moment where two powerful forces could come together: sport and compassion. And he acted on it instantly. That kind of vision doesn't just create headlines. It creates history. Now, The connection between Alex and Jollibee isn't just business or national pride. It's storytelling. Every fan watching her match, every person visiting a Jollibee outlet, every young athlete dreaming of success, they are now all part of something larger. A story that says, you can rise no matter where you start. And more importantly, when you rise, you can lift others with you. That's what makes this unforgettable. Because years from now, people may not remember every match score. They may not remember every tournament result. But they will remember this moment. The moment when a tennis player became more than an athlete. The moment when success turned into impact. The moment when one decision changed the direction of countless lives. And as for Alex, this is only the beginning. Her career is still growing. Her game is still evolving. The biggest titles in tennis are still ahead of her. Grand Slam stages, global recognition, and even greater challenges are waiting. But now, she carries something no ranking can measure, a mission, and that mission will travel with her everywhere, across courts, across countries, across millions of hearts. Because every time she plays, she reminds the world of something powerful. That greatness isn't just about how high you rise. It's about how many people you bring up with you. And maybe that's why this story hits so hard, because it's not just inspiring. It feels real. It feels human. It feels like proof that even in a world full of competition, pressure, and personal success, there is still space for kindness, still space for purpose, still space for something bigger than ourselves. So now the question is, what happens next? Will Alex continue her rise and reach the very top of the tennis world? Will the foundation expand and touch even more lives? Will this become one of those stories people talk about for generations? Only time will answer that. But one thing is certain. This isn't the end of the story. Not even close. And if this moment gave you chills, if it made you feel something, if it reminded you why stories like this matter, then don't just keep it to yourself. Share it, because stories like this deserve to be heard. They deserve to travel. They deserve to inspire. And who knows? The next person inspired by this story might be the one who changes the world again. A name that carries weight far beyond business. A man who started with something small, just an ice cream shop, and turned into a global empire known as Jollibee. His story wasn't built on shortcuts. It was built on resilience, on understanding people, on never backing down when bigger competitors tried to overshadow him. And as he watched Alex on that court, something clicked. Because her story felt familiar. A young Filipino rising against global giants, refusing to be intimidated, turning limitations into strength. It wasn't just inspiring, it was personal. In that moment, it wasn't just about tennis anymore. It was about something bigger, something that was about to shock the entire world.